Ozobot will not read it as a code. So that's a common mistake. Another common mistake, especially if they're trying to make it like jump a line or left or right, they need to make sure that there is, unless they're having it turn around because it's the end of a line, they need to make sure that the black line is on both sides of the code. There's some more kind of, there are some more really easy mistakes for the students to make. In your box, this is really nice. Sheet that was sent in your box as well, but it will kind of tell you some of the mistakes that the students make, like the white spaces in between, or making the line, making the codes too long or different sizes so it won't read it. So take a look at that, because that will help you troubleshoot with the students. Another thing that sometimes messes it up is the ink from the markers kind of bleed into each other. And when that happens, it can't read it really as well either. So take a look at those common mistakes that are made. That'll help you troubleshoot if something's not working. But it's really a time where the students get excited because they get to just try out some different things. I had a student who last time the only thing he wanted to do was make the Ozobot jump a line, and it basically took him the whole time, but he was really proud of himself when he got there. So they enjoy kind of playing around with it. In the video, they'll also introduce a problem that you can have the students work toward at the end then. The hypothetical problem is you're in a construction zone and you have a robot that you want to kind of move around that construction zone. But in the construction zone, there are a lot of obstacles. This is where the blocks come into play. You can give each student, I think like 3 to 5 of these blocks to kind of put around their paper. They'll then draw kind of the path around it, but definitely encourage them. In the facilitator guide, it talks about some criteria and constraints it wants them to use. Like it definitely wants them to use some direction codes, but also some speed codes as well. And also, I think there's a special move that they want they want them to try to at least use one of the moves. But the students will kind of create their path through the obstacles on their grid paper. It looks like there's plenty of paper, so you can give the students a completely new one, but encourage them to work through the design process. So in the ask step, talk about those criteria and the constraints that they have them brainstorm some ideas, try one out and evaluate it to see if it worked. And then if you have time, let them kind of share the solutions that they came up with. And that'll last you pretty much the whole time. And the last 5 minutes, as always, maybe I'm going to have the phones out, whatever mode that you want, but have the kids take that survey, and then they are pretty much done. Are there any questions? I haven't been looking.
Yeah, it's Natalie here. I'll jump in. So yes, the student paper is in the store box. So I gave you guys a few to practice with, and then there is some smaller practice sheets, and then like a larger sheet for them to do that final kind of path on.
I also saw the question of how long does it take to charge. It doesn't take very long at all. What I would do is whenever you first get in, is just get out your block charger that you have and just plug all 10 of them in and let them just sit there while you're getting set up. As Nate said, this one is pretty simple, and the setup especially is very quick once you get all of the Ozobots out of their box and charging. But I use that block because you can just fit all 10 on their little USBs pretty perfectly.
The store has 15 Ozobots, just in case some are dead right away or anything like that. So you have 15, so you have a lot of leeway there.
Sabrina, sorry, I don't think it should take this long to calibrate. Nate, do you know how long it took for yours to calibrate on the first try?
It should only take a couple of seconds. When you hold that button down, just hold it down for a few seconds and then let go. It should blink white, and then put it on that black dot. If it should move a little bit and then turn like blue and green, like it'll flash blue and green. Yeah, it'll stop at the edge of the circle, but it'll flash like green if it did it correctly. I've never had a problem even without calibrating them. They seem to work pretty well. But
Yeah, it's probably worth mentioning the little slips. You guys need to color in black the circle, and I would just do that beforehand so every student has one right by them to calibrate just in case. So a little coloring activity for you all.
Yep, Selena, it should work with any markers. So we order the Ozobot markers just because we order everything in bulk, but they'll work with any kind of marker.
And if the calibrating seems annoying or anything, after the first session they should all be good, so you wouldn't have to do it after that. If it seems like a waste of time, I don't know.
Brandy, I'm not sure if it'll work on laminated paper. I've not run into that yet. Does anyone know?
It's a good idea. We could definitely, if it does work, that's something that we could do moving forward. That way we don't have to send so many copies of dot paper. It could just be, like, I don't even know if it would work with dry erase. If it was laminated, we could just use them over and over. Yeah, they might smear. We could try it though in the office for the next time.
No, you do not need to mail the Ozobots back. No worries about that. We'll keep them at the store for next year, in hopes of next year. So just keep them with everything else. If you want to go ahead and lock them in the cases, if they fit, that's great.
Jason, I think you could definitely download the app. You know, you guys are definitely like willing to make this your own. And so if you get to the end of the session and you have some extra time, or like you said, if you have some older kids who maybe get through the regular session quickly, just to have them keep playing, I think that's great.
Okay, so I started this recording a little late, so I'm just going to run through kind of the housekeeping again just to refresh. I will send an email with the Eventbrite walk-in registration, a whole handout pointing with like pictures on how to do that step by step. Also, please keep the IoT kits, the Internet of Things. They're a red kit in your box that you got with the Ozobots. Please keep those. Those are for our March lab, and I just wanted to save time and cost because they fit into the shipment to you. Also, please take those dice, the 2 packages of red, green, and white, I think, dice, to the store. Those are the obstacles. They did not fit in the store shipment box, so please take those. Again, there is paper for the students at the store in that box as well. Feel free to, practice and play with this as much as you want. I know within each Ozobot package comes those little pre-drawn kind of maze activities. So feel free to have students start with those. Nate said that was a great idea. So feel free to start with those and incorporate those in the lab. Again, the video and the guide will be up on the Google Drive. And then we are not giving the Ozobots away. Unfortunately, we do not have the ability to do that. So please keep all 15 at the store, and then just send me those receipts for lunch. Text them to me right after, or by Monday would be great, so I can get that submitted to accounts payable, so they can work through all 36 of you and get that out. So I will send a recap email with all of this and the step-by-step instructions. And the dice are only for obstacles, correct? Yes. Do not need to label them. All right. And as always, please reach out, text, email me, call me with any questions. The beginning of this, it was not recorded. So I recorded the last half, but I am here to help you guys through this. Please just practice and play with these as much as you want. Get your kids involved, run them through it. This is a fun lab. And the only tech you'll need for this is for the survey and then the Eventbrite registration if there's walk-ins. Also, I wanted to touch one last thing on volunteers. So if there are volunteers in your area, I add them on the back end through Eventbrite, and they are added as a guest, so they do not take up any tickets or any space for students capacity-wise. It may look like it on your end when you're on the Eventbrite Organizer app on your phone, but it actually, they don't take up any space or any seats. They're just added as a guest, so no worries there. And I think that's it. So have a great night, everyone, and thanks for hanging out.
Thank you.